students. How are you all? Once again I am here with another topic in the same series, that is levels of management. Here there's one word which is very important for you to note is in the examination paper the same question, that is levels of management, can also be asked using another term called managerial hierarchy. So if a question is asking about managerial hierarchy, it is also simply asking about the different levels of management. Now, if we see the technical differentiation of a level of management has been divided into two major parts, that is managerial hierarchy as well as non-managerial hierarchy. So far as our syllabus is concerned, we just talk about the three major levels, but I want you to give a very broad idea about the topic. So since I thought to bring or decode the idea behind, the purpose behind this. Any organization has its two different setup, that is managerial hierarchy, managerial level and non-managerial level. Managerial level is sub-classified into three different levels, that is top, middle and lower level. Whereas non-managerial level is technically known as floor staff, and they are always and always below the managerial staff. As you can see, this link is showing the same. The entire non-managerial staff is always and always available below this managerial level, which means they are the lowest level in the hierarchy. And let me tell you, in overall hierarchy, whereas managerial hierarchy starts and gets over at this particular point of time. What is the specification? What important do you need, as per your class 12 syllabus, what important do you need to know in this topic is managerial hierarchy, or the non-managerial people are also known as floor staff. They are basically the casual labor, those who are unskilled, and they usually involved in the manual work. We take help of them as a manual laborer. Talking about this one, managerial level, which is a part of our syllabus, you can see that this entire hierarchy has been represented using a triangle. Now, what is this relevance of this triangle? Why can't we show it in a rectangle, or why can't we show it in a square, and why can't we make this triangle like this? Because this whole picture, this triangle has a relevance. This triangle talks about the number of person required at each level. So if you see significantly to this level, it is very clear that at top level we require the minimum number of person, because this covers the minimum area. Middle level requires little more from top, and lower level requires the maximum number of people or maximum number of workers as per the hierarchy. Now, what is this top, middle and lower level, and what all do they work? Top level is basically the brain for an organization, middle level is its heart, and lower level is its limbs, hands and legs, which help the organization to move. So top level must have their own designations and the functions to perform. Similarly, middle level must have their own designations and functions to perform. Likewise, lower level has its own designations and functions to perform. So let us see how these different levels works and what are the different designations assigned under each level. So first of all, if we talk about the top level, which is the brain of the organization, now the very basic question is that what is all about top level, and what kind of people are supposed to be appointed at top level, and what are their designation named as, and what their roles and functions are. So for top level is basically, at top level we require those kind of people, those who are more and more into conceptual skills, those who are the think tanker of the organization, and those who can work on the planning and forecasting and making those who are having long-term visions, and those who can frame or structure the organization in a very, very authentic manner. Top level involve most of their time in two major functions, that is planning and organizing. Then top level is that level which always and always involved in long and very much committed working hour. They most of the time engage in formulating plans and strategies and goals and objectives so that the rest of the organization can adhere to it and can reach towards the success. What all are the levels? What all are the designations labeled under it? So under top level, we have certain designations as chairpersons, CEOs, that is chief executive officers, presidents, vice presidents, managers of different departments. Remember, when I say managers here, I am talking about the chief managers, like chief finance officer, chief marketing officers, people like that, chief administrative officer, chief operating officers, etc. So any such posts, those who are at the top of the hierarchy, they are all designated as top level. All together we can call them board of directors. Remember, dear children, most of the time what common mistake you all do is if a question asks name a designation at top level, so children most of the time writes board of directors. Remember, board of directors is not a post, is not a designation. Board of director is the constitution of all these designation all together, which is framing one particular noun. Am I clear? Right. Coming to the roles of the functions. What all jobs does this top level perform? So as you can see, this top level is responsible for the overall objective. The overall objective, what the organization is trying to or tries to achieve at the end, has to be decided by the top level at the beginning of the organization or since the inception of the organization. Next, top level is that level which is responsible for overall survival and welfare of the organization. The question at times in the examination, a question has been asked, which level is responsible for the overall survival and welfare of the organization? So the answer is top level is responsible for overall survival and welfare of the organization. They not only formulate objectives, whereas they also prepare strategies. Now what is the difference between objective and strategy? Though both of them are the different types of plan, strategies are usually prepared using and keeping environment in mind. We always need to understand the present scenario, the present environment happening, and accordingly when we modify the objective or when we prepare a plan, it is known as strategy. So not only objectives, also strategies are to be prepared by top level. Coming to the next, that is allocate resources to the different department. We know and we have seen in the hierarchy that a top level is that authority, is that level where under them there are so many other levels working as their downline. So top level is that level which is responsible for allocating different resources. There, as you can see, that top level is equally involved in organizing. So they not only plan, they equally organize the resources, that is allocate them, distribute them as per the objective to the different department. Coming to the next, that they also issue needed instructions to the middle level. How now whatever policies they have framed, how these policies can be implemented, what can be the suggestive measures, what can be the possible steps to be taken care by. This top level also helps and inform all these needed instructions and guidelines to their middle level, to the people working below them. So this is all about top level. Top level is that level which is having the highest authority and responsibility too. Top level is also known as administrative level, right? It is that very beginners level. So we are at the top. So we can also call them administrative level. So now, right after top level, let us talk about the next level, that is middle level. Now, what is middle level? Middle level is the, you can say, they are the second line managers. They are basically performing the function of staffing as well as directing. If you remember, we have discussed that top level basically performs the function of planning and organizing. Similarly, middle level is mainly involved with two major functions, that is staffing and directing. Middle level is also known as executive level. We have already discussed that top level is also known as managerial level or administrative level. Similarly, middle level is also known as executive level. Now let us see what are the major designations in middle level. Middle level, the very first designation is the divisional heads. As we know that sometimes many of the organization gets themselves divided into different departments. So each departmental head comes under the designation of or comes under the level called middle level. The different, similarly, they can be different posts, like keeping the different functional areas of management in mind, that is production, finance, HR, R&D, marketing, etc., etc. So all those manager will come under, like production manager, finance manager, marketing manager, R&D manager, HR manager, all of them will come under this one particular middle level. Apart from them, there are some major important names which you as child must know, like general manager. General manager are also the part of middle level. At times children get confused that ma'am, where will the general management belongs to? So general manager is a part of middle level. Regional manager, plant superintendent, so all these designations are mainly from middle level. Now the question is, what middle level is supposed to perform? What are the major roles and responsibility the middle level is supposed to perform? So as we have already discussed, and in the diagram we have seen that middle level is in the center. So the superior middle level is guided by top level, whereas supposed to guide the lower level. So we can say that middle level act as a link between top and lower level. So it is a link between the rest two level. Next, the middle level is also responsible for implementation and controlling of all those plans already being made by top level. As we know that planning is the crucial work, and it is already being designated and assigned to the top level. So whatever plan top level prepares, what top level does? Top level delegates, assign those plans and make middle level responsible for their implementation. Then middle level not only implement the plan, whereas also interpret the meaning of the plan to the lower level. So interpretations of the policies framed by top level. Interpretation means to letting the lower level, or to let the lower level know that what these plans are, how these plans are significant, and how will it help in achieving the overall organizational objective. Next, the middle level also ensure that their specific department, be it production, finance, marketing, etc., etc., their specific department must have needed personals. The human resource, it's all about the human resource. So the requirement of manpower is also being guided and managed by middle level. Therefore, you can see that I've already mentioned that staffing is one of the major role which is being performed by middle level basically. Next, middle level also see that the proper duties must be assigned to the lower level. Lower level works under the supervision and guidance of this middle level. So middle level people, middle level managers are solely responsible for the assignment of deputation of different duties and roles and responsibilities to the people working under them. Coming to the next, that is motivates lower level. Yes, of course, they are the role model for the people working at first line, at the very right after the floor staff. So what is their job? Their job is to persuade them, to motivate them, to influence them. That is what is directing. I have already mentioned that. Communicate to them, supervise their activities. So it is all the work of, again, middle level. Next, to cooperate with other departments. We know that there are so many different departments which are working simultaneously at the same time. So what is the job of middle level? Middle level is responsible to maintain interdepartmental coordination. Yes, I repeat the word interdepartmental coordination. Let's suppose there are 4 departments, X, Y, Z and P. So all these 4 departments must have a great coordination among itself so that they are able to achieve the desired result, because we have already discussed management is a group activity. So no individual will be able to perform it independently. Therefore, ensuring coordination and cooperation among the departments is also a major task which is to be performed by middle level. Talking about the very last managerial level, that is lower level of management, it is very important for us to understand that why the role of lower level is very important, because lower level is the limbs, is the hands and legs through which any organization moves, because they are those managers, those who are working right immediately over the actual workforce, who are performing the task. So it is very important that the lower level, the people working at a lower level, those who are in direct contact with the workers, must be a kind of loyal, honest and hardworking people. Now, the lower level is also known as supervisory level or operational level. Lower level are, this is one very important name. Lower level is also known as the first line managers. They are the first line managers because right in the managerial hierarchy, if you see in this triangle, they are the very first level which is working right over the workers. So they are known as first line managers. Right, let us see what are the major designations comes under this level. Foreman, yes. Supervisors, purchase or sales managers. Now here the word manager has been used, but remember the work of the task of purchase or sales takes place under marketing department. So the marketing manager belongs to middle level, and all those purchase and sales manager, those who are working under a marketing manager, definitely will come under lower level. Superintendents of different departments, clerks, accountants, section officers. So all of these are the designations assigned to lower level. Talking about the function or the role performed by lower level. What are the major roles being performed by lower level? Lower level is, yes, definitely a major link between managerial level and non-managerial level. As you can see in the diagram, these two levels are being linked because the top or the middle management has no connection with the actual workforce, whereas it is lower level management who represents their grievances and responsible for any kind of upward or downward communication. So therefore they are the link between managerial and non-managerial level. Talking about the next, yes, as middle level is responsible for guiding, monitoring, communicating, motivating, instructing lower level. Therefore, similarly, lower level is responsible for instructing, guiding, motivating to the actual workforce, the real worker, the floor staff. Yes. Talking about the next, that is, they are equally responsible for minimum wastage of resource, which means that concept of efficiency is over the shoulder of these people. They are responsible for efficient completion of work. They ensure that the minimum wastage should take place. Not only this, they also ensure there has to be a safety standard. A minimum standard must be maintained throughout the production process. Now you can see there's one very important line which I have written, that the quality and the quantity of what? Quality of workmanship, like how these worker will be guided. Also the quantity of output, the final output produced. These two major, quality and quantity, is in the hands of lower level of management. So I hope with these discussion I am able to clear the concept of different managerial hierarchy to you as per the syllabus described by CBSE and published in your book. So if any question, any doubt, again I request you to ping me, to write to me on my mail address provided at the end of the video. Do like, share and subscribe if you find these topics taught to you worth enough. Thank you and Jai Hind.